Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to some Toronto Raptors news, and yes, we do have an unfortunate Toronto Raptors news update, and it involves Sam Dekker, who, among some fans, became a little bit of a fan favorite despite the fact he didn't get on the court much, and which is weird to say, because when he was picked up in the offseason, it was probably one of my least excited I've ever been for a Toronto Raptors pickup, but Sam Dekker won over people's hearts with his interviews and explosive games in preseason, but unfortunately, he has been waived by the Toronto Raptors this weekend, so that's the last we've seen of Sam Dekker in a Raptors uniform, at least this go around. Now, before I dive into why this happened and what this could mean for the future of the Toronto Raptors, I do want to mention that we are doing a giveaway at 22,000 subscribers. You get this hoodie on the screen here. It's a Stitch hoodie, you know, it's got the claw out there with the old retro Raptors hoodie, the Damian Stoudemire jersey, made by, with help of a local Toronto artist, Zank, one of one. So if you guys are subscribed to the channel, you get put into a draw for that hoodie. Jake LaMette-Johnson did get his jersey. We're going to put it out on a live stream, so it's more exciting for people to react to live. But that's something we're really excited about. But I digress. Enough of the plug in the subscribers, even though that's something you guys should definitely do. Subscribe to the channel. But Sam Dekker, waived by the Toronto Raptors, and it's unfortunate because he didn't even get a chance to go out there and play. Even Isaac Bonga got an opportunity to get out there on the court and see what he can do, and Sam Dekker showed a lot of promise there in the preseason. His ability to get hot, be an electrifying three-point shooter. He's a 45% three-point shooter in Europe. And now, we didn't even let him get on the court, and he is waived. So, we'll talk about if this is a big mistake after we dive into the reasons why this would have potentially happened, why Masai Ujiri had to make this decision, because this was the time it had to be made, as Sam Dekker's guaranteed option is, before his contract became guaranteed, him and Bonga's, it was this weekend, so if they were going to cut him, it had to be now, unless the point of it wouldn't have really made sense. But the reason this deal went through, or this waiving went through, is not because of Sam Dekker's play likely. It's not likely, you know, it's weird. It might be weird to see someone get dropped because there was so much anticipation who would get cut after training camp, and unfortunately it was Ishmael Wainwright, who was a guy I thought could potentially play rotation minutes for the Toronto Raptors this season. Thankfully, he was picked up by the Phoenix Suns for his career because he was another likable dude that the Toronto Raptors brought in this offseason. But Bonga remained, and Bonga and Dekker remained after that, and we were sort of under the assumption that they were safe. Now, we did get a tweet that came out from Doug Smith at some point this week. I don't recall explicitly when, but he essentially brought up he's really excited to see what's going to happen with the Sam Dekker situation, or the Sam Dekker Bonga situation, and see who gets cut. He did get some flack for that, especially how it was worded. It seemed like he was excited for someone to just get cut and lose their job. So that was interesting wording by Doug Smith, but nonetheless, that was put onto our radar that we might see a Bonga or Sam Dekker cut, and the roster ringed out to 14. And the reason this would happen is because the Toronto Raptors were about $1 million above the luxury tax line. And obviously, the Toronto Raptors are owned by Bell and Rogers, and they have so much money. The cell phone bills we pay in Canada are just ridiculous, and that all goes to the ownership of the Toronto Raptors. But when you have when you're in the luxury tax, this team could certainly play the luxury tax a couple seasons, and we did for a long time when we were building up to that championship roster. But when you're in the luxury tax year after year after year consistently, that's when the tax bill piles up, even for a bigger media company like Bell and Rogers and all that to pay off. Now, if I were running the Toronto Raptors, I'd hope that they just dump all the money into the team and hopefully that a better return, a better product on the court, they pay for it. But I digress. It makes sense why the luxury tax matters, even for massive ownership. Now, would I mind seeing Edward Rogers, the man who tried to ruin the franchise and get rid of Masai Ujiri, lose a few more dollars? I wouldn't mind seeing that, especially if it meant Sam Dekker kept his job. But it is what it is. So the Toronto Raptors are making this move in order to get under the luxury tax cap line, and they will likely stay at a 14-man roster, even though usually NBA teams are around 15 men. But in order to stay under that luxury tax line, because obviously, especially with the young guys we have getting off their rookie scale deals in the future, will likely be in the luxury tax in future seasons. So it doesn't make sense to, if you're only going to be $1 million over, it makes sense to just shed some salary there. But so I get the reasoning. I get why this was done. This wasn't some backdoor scene conspiracy against Sam Dekker. It's just the luxury tax. You had to make this deal happen in order to save a bunch of money, probably long term, for the Toronto Raptors. Now, was this the only route the Toronto Raptors could have completed this quest to save some money long term? No. There's a guy on our roster currently in Goran Dragic who has not played a single game since the Raptors won that 5-game winning streak and unfortunately lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. He is making $19 million this season. Obviously, that's a whole lot more than Sam Dekker. Now, am I saying waive Dragic? No. I'm not saying that. That's a huge cap load. You might have to extend him. You might have to do this, that, and whatever. But if the Toronto Raptors, especially where we're seeing a lot of Raptors fans saying, nights like last night where Jared Allen, you could have just threw an athletic body at him to slow his momentum. Right? If we could acquire a 7-footer, even if he's trash, just to throw out there and mix it up occasionally. Right? That's what a lot of Toronto Raptors fans are interested in. They wouldn't mind. They wouldn't mind. And I'm sure we could get someone back that's not at $19 million price point. Maybe get a couple of guys, couple of pieces that return at least less than $1 million than Goran Dragic. And that could have been a way to get below the cap hold. We're also gonna record a video that'll drop tomorrow morning in regards to a specific hypothetical trade involving Kobe White that people have sent to me on multiple occasions now. So I said I may as well react to that trade sent over, but that will come out tomorrow. But the Raptors are essentially likely going to be holding on to this 14-man roster until the Goran Dragic situation is played out. So that's obviously unfortunate because the more, even on the deep bench for the Toronto Raptors, obviously Sam Dekker, he wasn't playing for this team. So people will be saying, Ben, why is this a big mistake? Why are you so sad? Why are you disappointed in a guy that didn't even get on the court yet this season? It's because Sam Dekker had the potential. Obviously, injuries happen in this season. Obviously, the Toronto Raptors deep bench guys usually end up playing their way into the rotation. Right? Look at Chris Boucher last year. Riker said he was the third best player on the team. He was a deep bench guy on the Toronto Raptors championship squad. Yuta Watanabe, deep bench guy at the start of last season. Now, looking like he could be a rotation piece for this team. Fred VanVleet barely stepped on the court his rookie year. Came back. Now he's our starting point guard, our star, potential all-star. Siakam, first season. Yes, he started when Jared Sullinger was there, but was hidden in the G League for multiple seasons, right? Or for multiple seasons. For a half of a season. I think he won the G League MVP and all that sort of stuff. But I digress. The deep bench guys, especially in the Toronto Raptors, when they have talent, opportunity comes. And then when you cut them, after making the scouting report, after seeing there's value in them, and then watching them grow elsewhere, it's just disheartening, especially as a Raptors fan, knowing they probably could have done it for your team, especially with the unpredictability of the NBA. You never know what trades might happen. You never know what players might get hurt, what players might fall off. I would have liked to see Sam Dekker around. I would have liked to see that occur. And if you're going to go off a guy, get off a guy that doesn't really want to be here. Even though Dragic, he's been a professional. He hasn't sucked. He hasn't complained about anything in regards to coming to this Raptors squad that I'm sure he's thinking is a lot better than it would have been, or when he made that initial interview. Right, the Raptors have been really nice despite the fact they lost to the Cavs in the previous game. That was only a close one. We got an exciting one against the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow. But Dragic probably be better suited elsewhere. It's just what it is. The Raptors have a style of play right now that would have been key. That doesn't really suit Goran Dragic. So that's my take there. I feel like they should have just made a trade or believe, because the cap hit happens at the end of the season. Now, maybe they didn't want to take that risk just in case Dragic was a trade couldn't happen. He wouldn't accept $1 million less in his buyout. Right. Who knows? They don't want to take that risk. The ownership doesn't want to take that risk. But if you expect he's going to get traded or bought out, hold on to Dekker. Don't be waving a guy that seems like he's in Scotty Barnes' Instagram stories. They're always hugging. They're always teammates. He's has crazy energy on the sidelines. He gives great interviews, and he fits a need that could definitely be used by this Toronto Raptors roster. Yes, we've seen Fred VanVleet, his shot came back. OG Anunoby's shot is taken to the next level. We have Siakam coming back tomorrow against the Brooklyn Nets. Svi Mykhailiuk, right? Solid 3-point shooter. A lot of guys that can shoot on this roster and have looked better than probably projected coming into the season, but Sam Dekker's probably, in terms of the numbers, the best shooter out of those guys, just in terms of set shot shooting. 45% from the 3-point line is pretty ridiculous. So that's always an asset. He's big, he's long, he fits the size. I know he's a little bit older, but it's unfortunate. Now, am I going to get into the debate of the Bonga Dekker? No. Clearly, the Toronto Raptors see something in Bonga. He's young, he's big, he can dribble, he played point guard for stretches of his career. I see why the Raptors hold on to Bonga, even though he hasn't really broken out to the scene on this team just yet. But I think long-term Bonga could be a cool fit for the Toronto Raptors. But it's an unfortunate situation for Sam Dekker. I hope, just like Ishmael Wainwright, someone picks up Dekker. He lands on a team where he balls out because he deserves to be in the NBA. It's unfortunate to see him not make this team. I believe he just had a kid, or he's expecting with his wife, so congratulations to that. But Sam Dekker, I'm wishing you well. You won over a lot of fans, just as Ishmael Wainwright did this offseason, obviously at the start of the year for Sam Dekker. Hoping he lands on his feet somewhere. I know he will. But anyways, you guys are the best for making this far. If you made it so far in this video, please subscribe. It really helps us out, helps out the channel. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter. I'm forgetting all the social medias out there. I'm also gonna plug my Instagram. Got a few followers on the previous video I shot myself. Ben Rogers won. Get back to the base scene. Check that out. There on the road to 1,000 followers on Instagram. That ratio always looks clean. But weird plugs. Join the channel membership. It really helps us out. That's lots of cool perks down below. And finally, merch. We have new designs for our Raptors Digest logo because we're working with Spreadshop. We're working with the shop that's involved with YouTube, so that's why it pops up below the videos. And there's some learning to do with it, so we've kind of made the design a little bit cleaner for our Raptors Digest original hoodies. And a couple people are saying it's taken long to ship. Apparently, Spreadshop has been way behind on their shipping, just due to the holiday season. On top of just supply chains being all messed up. I don't know. That's why I read into it. I bought a hat on our website without express shipping, and it still hasn't got to me. So that's one thing. Anyways, so don't be worried if it's not there yet. It takes a while. It should be in transit, and if you don't get it, you can also reach out to us and reach out to the website. Just wanted to say all that stuff. So don't be worried if it takes a little bit longer this time of year to get the merchandise going. It's coming. Anyways, you guys are the best. And if you want the Fire merch, not that our merch isn't Fire, but subscribe to the channel. This giveaway is gonna be super hype. So definitely excited to see someone rocking this fresh hoodie. It's enough of me rambling. You guys are the best. I'm signing off. Cheers.